Hello, y'all. How's it going? It is, um, it is Tuesday. That means it's time for a live stream. I'm gonna play. In particular, it's time to go back to Outland for some reason. Um, it's been a random revisit that I've wanted to do for a while for no particular reason other than, I was looking at some point through like old Xbox Live Arcade games and you know, let's just go. This box art kind of caught my eyes being like, "Oh, it's kind of cool." And reminded me like, "Oh yeah, this is like a 2D platformer with like a red and blue polarity shift type system, um, comparable to like an Ikaruga, where it's like, oh, to dodge these projectiles, you go into the red mode or into the orange mode or the blue mode or whatever, and it's kind of cool. Also similar to Deedlit and Dungeon and the very recent Fast Fusion also has a similar gimmick. Actually, there's got to be like a concept page for that on giantbomb.com, doesn't there? That sort of polarity shift gimmick, especially with regards to games with a certain hellishness. Um, Also, it was developed by Housemarque, which later went on to make Returnal, which I did not realize until very recently. I've been wanting to do this stream where I checked it out for a while, only realized, like, once I was actually setting up the damn thing that, like, oh, that was Housemarque that made that? I think I don't actually know what other games Housemarque made other than Returnal, but my understanding is that, like, yeah, a certain bullet hellishness is like one of their signature gimmicks, and usually in 2D, I believe, but in Returnal's case, they went 3D for the first time. Have they announced a new game? It doesn't matter. Um, I'll say before we begin, um, just a little bit of follow up from the last few streams. First off, I'll say like after that stream last Friday on July 4th, I during that stream the GameCube wasn't turning on and I was quite concerned. Right after that stream, I unplugged it and replugged it back where it was, and it fucking turned on, so I don't know. I guess it's fine, which is good considering I didn't want to lose my GameCube, but whatever. That's was an alarming thing last Friday, but it's good that it's bad. It's not bad. The other thing, follow up on the throwing galaxy bits at me thing. Just this has been an idea that's been thrown around for a bit. People have the option on Twitch to throw Pikmin at me for channel points, and I've been trying to figure out how to do it, how to do a similar gimmick like that. Yep. Trying to figure out how to do a similar gimmick, but for star bits from Mario Galaxy, and make it like Jesus, make it for like actual Twitch bits. And I'll say I did try to set that up. I wasn't able to do it where it was like a dynamic length based on how many bits that you do, but I was able to do it where it's like, okay, if you do 100 to 500 bits, you do one type of bits, and if you do 500 or more, you do like a slightly bigger, longer one that's in either case not too distracting. I haven't been able to really test that, honestly, so I don't know if that's working, and I don't know how the fuck I would test it, considering, like, wouldn't it cost me money to test it? It would cost me money, and I would get some of that money back, but not all of it, so that's weird. I don't know. In theory, it's turned on now. Don't count on it working, is what I'd say if anyone wants to try that, but, whatever. It'll throw things at me, and it'll make the music from Mario Galaxy, where it's like do 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 do. It'll make that play, in theory, anyway. I was having some troubles getting it working reliably. Whatever. I don't know. I've been a real pain in the ass to try to get that working right, honestly. But what I got is turned on, so we'll see if that's like a thing. Finally, would like to remind anyone watching the VOD or live or whatever, we'll be out of town next week. As has been discussed previously, I'm going to be out of town next week, visiting the Jersey Shore to hang out with family. Like 30 members of my extended family will be bunched into as few beach houses as can be arranged. We got our own. Like my branch of the family, you know, sisters, brother-in-law, parents, and me got our own beach house this year, so we don't gotta share. But you know, they'll be in a bunch of other beach houses, and we'll all hang out and go to the beach and do other fun stuff. So, we'll be out of town next week. Don't expect a Tuesday stream. Don't expect a Mario Maker stream. That said, I do want to do, I do want to do, I do want to do Donkey Kong Bonanza when that comes out. Maybe the day of, maybe the night before. I don't know what makes sense. We'll see what happens. Probably the day of, if anything. I'll just skip a beach day or go to the beach a little later in the morning. That's a thought that I have. Want to try out that Bonanza on stream. So that'll be next week. That'll be fun. That's not important for now. This stream, let's just play this game and focus on it a little bit. That's just updates as far as like what's going on with me. Don't have to worry about that. We'll talk about like you know, everything vacation related next time on the viewer level stream before vacation. But for now, I just want to check out Outland. All right. Let's get into Outland. It is time for Outland now. Apparently all my saves from the past are gone. That's fine. Don't matter. I was gonna start a new one anyway. In fact, it's better. Let's go. Let's do it.
Lost in his world, haunted by dreams of legend.
What is this story? I don't remember.
Could not help
I don't know if I said, but I very vaguely remember this game. I don't even remember if it was really a Metroidvania or not a Metroidvania at all.
teacher and a mystic.
I just remember the polarity gimmick.
Who could make sense of these visions, who would heal him. He found the seer, collapsed at his fireside, and listened as he was told the ancient
By the way, is the volume good?
stories of a great wheel endlessly turning. Of two sisters
Probably hard to
who
tell.
helped make the world,
Could be louder. I'll take it up a bit.
then sought to shatter it. Imprisoned by a hero, a soul waiting through the ages, eager to be reborn.
Let's do it. I think that's us.
Time has come again. But so has theirs.
So this is like a Zelda situation where we're the Link and they're the Ganondorf. The character design, sort of like we're in shadow, but we have tattoos. You know, with our color of choice, our current polarity on it, kind of reminds me of like Tron. That's sort of the impression I get. It's hard to tell when there's no music if the volume is good, honestly. I collected a Mark of the Gods. Ow. You can wall jump. You can beware of the creation. Energies of creation, light and dark. They shoot out from magic guns. You have unlocked a cool piece of Outland concept art. Wow, we now. That's exciting. There's a checkpoint. There are a lot of old games that, you know, you don't think about that much these days. And, I want to stream more of them. You know, that's sort of a thing that I like to do. And I would like to do more into the future. Okay, get some energy from the power of life and all that. Or I will do that, sure. Games like this, other things like Insanely Twisted Shadow Planet, random Xbox Live games, I feel like that's an era that I don't give enough shrift, you know? The shrift I give it is a little bit short. I got a melee attack, uppercut them, and crouch attack them. Okay, there's the combat system. You can slash up, you can slash to the side fast, and you can do like a sweep the leg. When do we get our health back? Seriously. You should find, like... Oh, it's probably... Yeah, there we go. In jars. That makes sense. It's very Zelda. Oh, there's a guy. I should be more careful. I got dodge and crap. There's not like a dodge or anything, so you just have to run backwards or jump or something if you want to avoid, you know, getting hit like that. Kind of feels funny by modern standards where, like, you know, we've gotten so... Was that Souls-brained? Where the dodge roll has become such a fundamental aspect of, like, 2D action games, even. I mean, obviously Souls is like a 3D thing, but like nowadays, maybe like a maybe like what was it? The roguelite, Dead Cells. Dead Cells is a big part of that, I think. You know, sort of making that role feel just like the standard, you know, as far as, oh yeah, if you're in 2D, you might as well have a little bit of a role. I guess, like, even games as recent as, like, Rogue Legacy haven't necessarily had that as, like, a default thing. In that game, you could spec into, like, oh, we can't use that platform yet, I see. You could spec into, like, oh, you know... We can't go over there yet, either. Okay. Very cool. You can spec into, like, a dash. Dash is really good. And I'll say, like, just apropos of nothing, like, yeah, I bet we get a dash in this. If this game is good. You know, this is a game where you get abilities and stuff, I think. Also, you know, maybe we don't need to dodge if we just uppercut and start by juggling them into the air. I do think this era gets a little bit of a short shrift. And, like, personally speaking, I would love to revisit more games from the Xbox Live era because, like, you know, they're an era that I personally don't think about that often. It wasn't like when I was a young kid. So it's not like the most nostalgic era in the world, but there's all sorts of great games that you don't remember as fond, as vividly as, you know, your Marios and your Zeldas and stuff. You know, I recently got a handheld, a retro handheld, and I would fucking, you know, I would, the one thing I wish it could do is I wish it could do 360, and I know that that's obviously, like, you know, it kind of sometimes struggles to do even GameCube and Wii reliably. You know, maybe I have to can set it up better, you know, but, there's no emulator on Android for like 360 or even for Xbox original, so like, you know, I would love to have like all these Xbox Live Arcade games in like a portable way. I mean, mind you, it would be possible to use Xbox Remote Play. I think, can you use Xbox Remote Play for back compat games? Is that a thing that works? I'm not 100% sure about that, but I guess I have options for what it's worth. You know, there's multiple ways to play a retro game. Man, I wish there was a portable Xbox, you know? But, like, not in a, oh, here's a ROG Ally way, more in a way of, like, oh, yeah, every Xbox game that exists, I just want to play them, you know? And also, if it could also run, you know, your various emulators for your other purposes, you know, that would also be handy. I assume you can do that with a ROG Ally. Like, a ROG Ally is a pretty powerful thing and more expensive than a Switch, so, you know, if the Xbox one that they put the Xbox name on happens to be, like, less capable of that bullshit than, you know, the regular ROG Ally, that would, blow. This is just getting started, by the way, if you're wondering. Like, eventually, we'll get the polarity, and I think that's where it'll really, open up. Like, we're probably about to get it, like, right here, right now. This has gotta be it. This is polarity, isn't it? That was a fun little prologue intro thing, I guess.
Fall back through time. Become the ancient hero. Let his spirit,
okay,
dark and light, arm you in this final battle.
Ah, okay, I'll do that. So this is a little tutorial of like the phase shifting gimmick. You can see here, I'm switching between red and blue. That's about all you need to know. I mean, they're going to explain. This is the tutorial for the main gimmick of the game. After which, you know, I guess we'll just continue playing it. How's the volume? The volume good? We actually have music now. Volume? Just fine. That sounds just fine. Yeah, I'm really much louder. I could give it a little more, even. Why not? So you can see here that we can pass through like colors, you know. Blue doesn't affect blue. Red doesn't affect red. You can also stand on the right platforms as we match the thing. Oh, there's a... You need to be the opposite color to attack an enemy. Okay. Do we have a lot more hearts than we did earlier? That's cool. It's an instant swap. So we can do things like jump through a platform, swap it, and then, you know, jump through and then swap back. Nice. I don't know why. Ah! Being so, it's not a big deal. It's just a little bit of light, platforming. I thought this would be a solid object right here. That's why I was jumping against it, as if to, like, see if there was, like, a hidden thing behind the wall. But there was no wall. It was in the background. I guess, like, anything that's not pitch black is, you know, background. I guess a weird thing is, like, if they're shooting projectiles that match their color, like, if we can't attack them as the same color, but we also can't get damaged by them as the same color. I do think... Ouch! Fuck. Low key. This is one of the least, this is one of the most underused mechanic gimmicks that you can have, right? The whole polarity system. What's going on? Something about the sisters? Is this like a plot thing? Might be the end of tutorial land here. Metal Gear Solid 3. Snake Eater. Much shorter ladder than in, Metal Gear Solid, for what it's worth, but, you know, hey. Here's a boss, I think. Or... not. Eh? Why are we still...
The hero's journey ended. Ancient spirits release their grasp, and you awake just a man. Surely it was a dream.
Okay. We're out of the tutorial now. When do we get... Where's the... What happened to our abilities? I thought we were just gonna be, you know, all tutorialed up now. And ready to just be let loose upon the world. I guess they have another tutorial for us or something. Weird to give us, like, a taste of the fun parts and just be like, okay, well, you know, enough switching back and forth. Go and swing your sword at a spider. Go and slice up a spider real fast. And, you know, think heavily and hard about, like, whether you really want the phase swapping ability. I don't know. Oh, I guess I have, like, less health again as well. The health thing was just a dream. It's an abilities, but with literal health parts, you know? not even a large amount of health. You had like 6 in the abilities. That's, you know, even Wind Waker, which has fewer dungeons than most Zelda games, you get up to 6 pretty fast. You get up to like 8 in the end. And then, you know, there's all sorts of optional ones as well. That tutorial was fun. I'll say, like, as far as tutorials go, like, that was an abnormally fun tutorial. But a lot of it is that it gave us an ability that, like, you know, really I could spend a whole game with. And let me use it for, like, a minute. Kinda weird. Speaking of weird, I didn't appreciate how I couldn't see while I was stepping into a dangerous area. Like, definitely make that more visible, more quickly, before I fall into the spikes. Would be smart. Games have figured that out by now, I think. You should be able to see. You know, you got an area hidden behind a fake wall. As soon as you pass through, that needs to, like, fully expose, like, bam. Like, immediately. I feel like Xbox Live Arcade games like this would emulate very well on, or not emulate, you know, but would, they're like sized very well. I feel like they would work on like a less powerful devices than, you know, these things were not using the full hardware that the 360 had. So given that, you know, if there was an emulator that worked well on the thing, it would be a fucking miracle, you know. I have to imagine that people will figure that out in the next 10 years, you know? Like, the Retroid Pocket 6 or 7, will that just basically run everything south of a Switch? And also a Switch? You know, 360 era was, like, huge and long and massive. And, worth noting, there is PlayStation 3 emulators on Android. They're just so early they barely work for shit. I don't know. I have a lot of... What the... Sure? Oh, I got a health upgrade by doing a thing. Okay. I feel like that'll come together sometime in the next 10 years. Hell, if it could just be integrated and, you know, if like the portable Xbox is a thing, it could probably just tie into your account and actually get your Xbox games. That'd be nice if, like, literally you could download your actual things from Xbox Live, the ones that you own and pay money for. Because, you know, fuck knows if I paid a lot of money over the last 20 years to get, like, a suitable collection of Xbox games, plus Game Pass. You know, like, shit, man, I'd love that to be just on a Retro Pocket handheld. You know, obviously, I wouldn't want to pay, like, $900 for it, or whatever the Xbox handheld is going to cost. You know, I'd rather it work on the Retroid that I paid $200 for. But whatever, man. I really like that Retroid. It's great. Little bits finicky. Did I just backtrack? What the fuck? How the... What? There's a map. Okay. I think I accidentally backtracked. I think I'm not supposed to be here. This looks like a thing that spikes come out of. I should follow the little guys that show me the way. I bet they'll show me the way to the way I should go. I guess the weird thing is, like, all these, you know, consoles and stuff. First off, all the handheld devices are using a whole different architecture because ARM is just a lot better at being portable than Intel, which means that, you know, there's sort of a layer of incompatibility that you gotta get around, you know, when you're emulating. And that's why Switch emulation is a lot more ahead on, than like any 360 or PlayStation 3 emulation, because it's a similar architecture. Whatever. So that's like a factor to consider. Another factor to consider is like they started trying to make things hard to do. They at a certain point around this generation, everyone said, oh fuck, we should probably think about, like, shutting down, you know, at a certain point, everyone was looking at each other and going like, well, it should probably have to check the BIOS. All these consoles got really complicated, really interconnected, and, you know, it's not like a SNES where it's just like, oh, you turn it on, and it plays the game. You know, instead you turn it on, and it goes to a home screen, which is important, and then it launches the software, and the software is still aware it's on a, you know, a thing with BIOS and, like, other functions. Perhaps even music playing in the background. Ooh, music. I died for the first time. Oh, it's saying go down. Okay. I guess this is a Metroidvania. There's abilities. The abilities unlock new areas. I feel like a Metroidvania does imply a certain amount of backtracking. Maybe that, you know, keeps this from being all the way one. I mean, we'll see. Hey, there's some flippy-dippy platforms. I think we're getting back to the gimmick of the game. Man, you know, kids today, you know, the next generation, they're going to come into a world where, yeah, you know, not only can you play, like, potentially basically any game on a cheap device, or hell, even a actual Nintendo Switch will be able to do most all games, many of which through Nintendo Online services. Or, you know, through, like, other means, you know? But you gotta imagine eventually they get all this generation and, like, man, the Xbox Live Arcade was huge. It was like an explosion. As far as, like, there were so many more developers, so many more small games. And a game like this, bite-sized, you know, Probably not that large or long. Gotta be pretty good to just pick up and play. And I'll say it's pretty good to pick up and play. I'm having a good time. It's fine, you know, whatever. Hey, we actually got the gimmick now. Here starts the gimmick of the game.
And so the man who would save creation learned to draw on creation itself. Now he could harness the force of light manifest in all things. With it, he could tread paths that were closed to him before.
Yeah, I get it. Oh, I only have the light entry. Okay, gimmick not started. This is half gimmick. We're at half gimmick here, folks. Like half... Gonna say half-mast. That's not, that's... We're halfway there to, you know, getting all, gimmicked up. Yes. I feel like the slide should also be an attack. I don't think that it is. Oh, we can just go through these now. Because we're blue. It is cool to be able to just pass through like projectiles. That is cool. That is neat. It's not, it's better when you can switch back and forth. This is like the part of Portal 1 where it's like, hey, you know, you got half the portal gun. You got half the portal gun here. Go wild. You know, where's the other half? Give it like 3 missions. Do like a fifth of the game, and then we'll give you the real thing. You know, which probably was good for, like, easing you in, but I do appreciate, honestly, like, Portal 2, where it's like, here you go. Here you go. Here's your portal gun. It's a full portal gun. You can shoot both portals. I know you get it. It's funny since Portal is so replayable, you know, so like perfect in many ways. But you know, it is on some level just optimized for that first play, you know, or which, hey, you know, that makes sense. You gotta think about your new players before you think about your, like, oh, you know, guys who have been playing it forever and ever. Because you don't get players that play it forever and ever if you don't think about new players. It makes sense, but, you know, I played it forever and ever. You can always just skip to the part of Portal that, you know, is at full portal, I guess, on replays. If you have a save, if you have, like, the chapter select thing. Does the chapter select thing get that minute for Portal? I forget. It doesn't matter. Portal is short enough you can just do it. This way. I'll say, speaking of Portal, while I'm replaying a random game randomly, I'll say I would like one day to do Portal 2 on stream. That'd be a fun one. I mean, I guess the thing is, there's a million games I would like to fully replay on stream sometime. By the way, to be clear, this isn't a full playthrough. This is gonna be me just playing it for one stream, and then, you know, going like, oh, that's interesting. you know, and that's it. But, like, I'd love to do Portal 2. I did Portal 1, like, a couple years ago on stream, full one-segment playthrough. Wouldn't mind doing Portal 2 as, like, a more, you know, couple weeks thing, you know, couple hours at a time. That'd be fun. Also, you know, I did do Half-Life 2 last year? No, it was like, I guess it was the week. Was that last year? Yeah, I think it was last year, last December. Wouldn't mind doing Half-Life 2 Episode 1 and Episode 2 at some point. That'd be definitely on my list of, like, yeah, sure, why not? You know, we're talking about this era, like, this turn of the decade. You know, Valve was very Xbox 360 type era, right? Valve was huge to me, and I'm sure many others during this era. They could do no wrong. The games they made all ruled. It's a real shame that they just stopped making games because, you know, I think they realized that they didn't need to make infinite amounts of money. They could just literally make the same game every they didn't even make a game, is the thing. They just realized, like, oh, you know, we'll just run the storefront and that'll make $1 billion. That'll make 30% of every game that comes out. Now they have competition. They still are raking it in, you know. I mean, I'll say, like, I wasn't into Dota. You know, Heroes of the Storm I got into, it was, you know, as a more accessible MOBA. You know, Heroes was. I thought that was a more accessible MOBA and really did enjoy the hell out of it. And didn't play Artifact or I guess they did actually put out a real actual game like 5 years ago or so. Maybe was it pre-pandemic? I think it was like probably 6 or 7 years ago actually at this point. With Half-Life Alyx. But you know, like most people, I don't have a VR headset. You know, as far as I'm aware, no one does. These are cool platforms. Good gimmick. I like it. Yeet. You know, truth be told, collected a Guardian key. The door to your next challenge is now open. What? Ah, okay. I think we're going to a boss of the first area. This half portal area. I'll say I think this wind-up is way too long. I feel like, you know, the abilities... The ability... Is there a way to turn abilities into dream? The abilities dream... No, it just makes it sound like I'm saying abilities dream. The teased dream. That dream that was functionally in abilities really just makes this area feel a whole lot less interesting. Maybe, you know, if I had to guess, they developed this area first as like a, you know, a warm-up, and then they realized, like, oh, players are losing interest, so we should probably, like, actually show them the pinball machine. Is that an expression? We should show them the goods. That's worse. We should just cut to the chase and, you know, make sure they know, like, hey, this is gonna get cool. There is such a, you know, cut your darlings, kill your darlings is what they say. You should have killed this bit. Like, just jump ahead to right here. Maybe, you know, with a game of an indie persuasion, they figured, like, well, if we do that, there will be no game. You know, that's like half the game. Look, this is like a Shadow of the Colossus type thing. It's kind of a 2D Shadow of the Colossus gimmick. How about that? I'm playing a little bit of Shadow Colossus on my Retroid, oh boy. I've been playing a little bit of Shadow of the Colossus on my Retroid. Haven't played it this week. Played it like last week. I think I did like the first two. First two or three, I forget if I did the third one. I think just the first two Colossi. A lot simpler this game is. You just jump over a thing and then... Tree! Oh, crap. There are guys in the tree that were dropped on us. I just noticed the health bars there. And we can kill the guys in the tree. Remember, blue is our friend. It'd be cool if blue, like, gave you health or power or something. You know, if there was, like, a benefit to absorbing. In addition to just like, oh yeah, you just shield it, you know, it's fine. There we go. That was good. Yeah. All right, let's finally we have the full gimmick here, I think, I bet, right? Yes? Tell me this is the red. Motherfucker! This isn't the red. Ground stomp? Give me the red already, what the fuck? You know, I'll say I forgot. You know, my memories of this game were very vague. I forgot they don't just get to the fucking point. They have to tool around.
Bones of the earth, the golem was the protector of the land. The gods themselves set him to stand guard on the Temple of Eternity.
I mean, I guess we're an hour in. It's not that big of a... There are slower intros. I bet this game is like 4 hours long. Maybe 6.
But his heart betrayed him.
This is probably like a fourth of the game or something.
Time, he forswore his sacred duty. Now...
Okay, yeah, the guy died. Tell me we get the red now. Oh, look at that. There's like a indicator there. I guess there's 5 such bosses in the game, so we're like a fifth of the way through, roughly, based on that. Probably like a 6, you know, you probably do all those 5 circles and that unlocks like a final area. I'm reminded of Ori 1, which people are fond of somewhat. I'll say I came to it late on like the Switch release of it, the first Ori. I got the second Ori on Game Pass when it came out, but you know, one thing that I didn't really care for with Ori is that it has like such a really good gimmick with like the bash gimmick, and it it saves it. It says like, okay, you know, we got bash, we're gonna save it to like, you know, 75% through the game before you get the bash ability. And it's like, yo, the bash ability is the best part. You should be giving that to us like right away at the very start. Say, here's bash, here you go. I mean, I get it, it's a Metroidvania. It needs to like, we go this way. Okay. It's a Metroidvania. It needs to, like, slowly dole out its abilities, but, like, you gotta put the... You know, if there's, like, a rush... I'm gonna say, like, a Mount Rushmore ability. Talon Trot is in the first world of Banjo-Kazooie. You know, they don't fuck around with that. Flight is in World 2. Is there a Mount Rushmore of, like, Banjo abilities? Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie? Yeah, it's probably Talon Trot. Talon Trot is egg firing on the Mount Rushmore of Banjo-Kazooie abilities. Maybe. Oops. I do think Flight is on there. Flight from a flight pad. Is Wonder Wing one of them? I think Talon Trot has to be on there. Talon Trot is just, you know, you use it literally every second you're playing Banjo-Kazooie. You use the Talon Trot. There's an argument for, like, the Beat Buster. The ground pound, you know? Is there anything in Tooie that would really, like, make the cut? If one wanted to argue that the Regal Blaster mode, wherein you, like, you know, do first-person malarkey, if that's a better representation of, like, eggs firing than, like, you know, just default egg firing. What about egg pooping? Egg pooping versus egg firing. Is egg pooping more iconic? I feel like there's a good argument for egg pooping because it's so silly and just a consequence of like, oh, we put egg firing on C up. So now we have to figure out something for C down. Well, let's make them fire the other direction. Make them fire the other direction. You know, from the back of the backpack. They built, like, some places where you need to, like, poop into a thing. That's... eggs. Poop eggs into a thing. Deposit eggs. How many other games do you poop into things? You know, not even Conker has you... Well, you have other things poop into things in Conker. Literally. But, like, you know, that's just very, There must be a million bawdy indie games. I don't know. Would Steam be cool with that? Would Nintendo Online, you know... How filthy are those hentai golf club beach girls hentai on the Nintendo Switch that are clearly, like, shoveled out by some nefarious entity? Are those, like, really fucking... I mean, I know they gotta be pretty horny, but are they, like... How out there are they? I don't know. I think you put poopin'. I think you put, Talon Trot. You probably put Wonder Wing. And then, yeah, Flight. And that's 4, and that's a mountain. That's a Mount Rushmore. I like, recently I've been watching, those, the podcasts that Jeff Grubb does outside of Giant Bomb. I kind of like the gimmick that he does of doing Mount Rushmore, but for various things, you know? Like Mount Rushmore of this, Mount Rushmore of that. I think it's a good gimmick. It's good, like... Just a real quick top 4 is basically all that it is. Pretty, I think it's pretty smart. And, lends itself to some decent, dumb conversations about, like, what the most iconic... Or, like, you know, there's multiple aspects of it, right? Because, like, a Mount Rushmore isn't just, like, the 4 most famous presidents. It's like, yeah, representative. You know, we got Taft on there for some reason. At the time, it seemed like he represented something or other. You know, it wasn't just like the first 4. And it's meant to represent all eras of United States, I guess. Mount Rushmore is a weird thing, I guess, for reasons. Isn't it built on native land that they didn't have the rights to really do that? Like on a sacred mountain or some such? There's probably an argument that it should be, like, you know, now it's one of those things where it's like, well, you can't fucking restore it. That's not possible. It's not how it would work. No, you'd keep it around. You couldn't, like, demolish the mountain. That'd be silly. I don't fucking know. Maybe it's something that I don't have to have an opinion on. Anyway, that's a fun gimmick to do. What's like Xbox Live Arcade Rushmore? Does Braid make the list? Braid might have to. I feel like... Was Braid the one that was first to breach the $15 barrier? Whatever game that was, you know, it was successful enough where that became just a thing. Is Limbo on the list? There's too many Xbox Live Arcade games to really think about it like right just now, but... Oh, Geometry Wars probably makes the list. I've said before that's a game that I never picked up myself. I really should have done, and I guess I still can. Maybe at some point we'll do a stream where I just, you know, pay the $10 or whatever it is to get Geometry Wars. Probably like $5 now, what the fuck, right? Pay the $5 to get Geometry Wars and check that out for the first time. That'd probably be a more exciting stream than this, honestly. But, what the fuck, right? This game's cool. Does Fez make the cut? I don't think... I think Fez is just short. I think Fez would be short of a Mount Rushmore. I think you get Geometry Wars. I think you get Super Meat Boy. I think that's the best 2D platformer that was on, the service. Get any Rare games? They had, what? They had, just like the jetpack game. No, that's not it. That doesn't really rank. I did like the ports of Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie. You know, in an era where, like, that sort of thing was pretty unheard. You know, they... Before that, the idea of getting, like, a digital version of a full-on game, was that before Virtual Console had really took off? I feel like those are probably around the same time. You know, probably literally the same time. Virtual Console and, like, the remix... like what, '08, and then the Wii came out with Virtual Console, right? Not sure actually. When was the classic controller? Was the classic controller? I guess it depends if the classic controller was at launch versus like if it was like a later thing that they added, you know, like a year later or something. I feel like they had the classic controller like from pretty early in the generation. Ah. I can't believe how slow this is to, like, get to the gimmick. I mean, maybe there's an argument that's... It's not slow, you are. You know, if you were going through this faster, like, I bet speedrunners don't spend, if speedrunners speedran this game, which... What's the world record for Outland? If speedrunners... If there's, like, speedruns of this game, I bet they get to this part faster. You know, if I had to bet, I guess, you know, it all depends on, like, how evolved and how developed the run is, but, like, if I had to bet, I'd say, like, there must be a way to get out of the tutorial area at the start with all your, two abilities. And start with the ability to swap back and forth. Would that save you much time? I'm not sure it would, actually. Honestly, not sure it would save you time. Finally, is this red? Tell me this is the red.
There is balance in all things.
Finally, we got both of the parts, and we can switch back and forth between them, I bet.
One cannot use only the light without denying half of all that is.
No shit.
And so the hero learned to accept the power of darkness, which was not evil, for there is evil in the brightness of the noonday sun, and to use it as a shield against Moon's own creations.
Ugh! Arms are a little sore. Did a bunch of packing over the weekend to prepare for that trip, so maybe I'm thinking that's maybe why I'm a little sore. I'm pretty much all packed, so, you know, I'm very much a, I like to get that out of the way as soon as possible, despite the fact that, like, there's a handful of things you can't really pack until, like, the night before the trip on Saturday. That's not important right now. Hey, we finally got the ability to switch back and forth. You know, about an hour into the game now, the game is finally really getting started. We finally have access to the whole gimmick. You know, I'm happy about that. Now we can run through red, stand on red platforms. Also now there's gonna be enemies of a blue persuasion who we have to beat with this. Also, wait. Oh, those guys are yellow, so the red doesn't shield you against them. Okay. That's a bummer. Thought that would be like, oh, you know, you can now do a thing. Can these guys... Like, their projectiles, I shield against them, Ikaruga style. But, like, if I run into a melee guy... There, blue guy. He can hurt me despite me matching his color. Okay. That's fine. Just get good. I should just get good at the video game. I will do. Excellent. I feel like we spent a lot of this time just talking about, like, other Xbox Live Arcade games, you know, things from that era. I do think that's a thing that's fun when playing older games like this, you know, sort of, or like games that are not that old, you know, but are still pretty old. It's like, oh, it's like a good way of like thinking back and going like, oh shit, you know, I remember the 2010s and you know, played all sorts of fucking great games back then. Of which, I bet my review on Backlog right now for this, probably like a 4 out of 5, right? So far, you're like, yeah, I'd say that this is in line with a 4 out of 5. It feels good to run around and jump around. The light-dark gimmick is good. It has too much of an extended start. Like, it really needs to just cut to the chase. And have a little more brevity. But other than that, you know, it's fun to run around. Got a bit of a... It's good. Well made. Again, I think that the switching back and forth gimmick is just genuinely great. And one of the more underused gimmicks in all of gaming. You know, the ability to be like, okay, I'm gonna swap between one and another. I didn't know that was like... I only recently found out about Ikaruga, honestly, as like the Mac Daddy of that, of like, as like the original one of those, I guess. Because I was listening to someone play Fast Fusion, and they mentioned that as a touch point. I think when I played Fast Fusion for the first time, I mentioned Deed Lit in Wonder Dungeon, which is the example that I know off the top of my head that did this. And, you know, it was pretty good. That's a game I wouldn't mind fucking finishing at some point. It got kind of hard towards the end, and then it left Game Pass, and I didn't buy it. You know, I tend to replay in full games from my childhood. You know, games from like the early, the late 90s and the early 10s, or the early aughts specifically. That tends to be like my go-to as far as these things go. But like a game I never finished that I know is pretty good, that wouldn't be a bad idea for on stream at some point. That said, I have other plans right now. That's always part of it, you know. I always have plans. Who doesn't always have plans? Lots of plans. Dozens of plans. I have more plans than I really can attend to. And also, I do like to, like, schedule these plans around, like, oh, I'm gonna be out of town. I don't want my plans to be interrupted by being out of town. I'm leaving town for, like, a week. Fuck you. Fuck you again! Fuck me, I guess. Really. If I'm going out of town, I want to, you know, have everything squared away and finished up before I, you know, have to be gone for a bit. I'll say there's nothing bad about the way game plays, you know. If I had any criticism, I'd be like, well, the combat system is pretty brain dead. You know, you just sort of like juggle them up into the air and then you stab them. It feels good, but, you know, there's more sophisticated melee systems in games like this that feel even better now, you know? Like, this is no Dead Cells, nor is it like you know, name a roguelike, or, maybe not a roguelike, like a Souls-like one of these that is like, hey, you know, I expect perfect accuracy of you. Like, I kind of think Nine Souls, which was a game that I, what do you mean use a bomb? I got this ground pound not work? Okay, fuck you. Oh. Bombs, okay. I think of Nine Souls. Okay. That's how bombs work. I think of Nine Souls, a game I bounced off immediately, which has a similar combat system and similarly repetitive, but it has like stakes to the combat, where like, oh, if you fuck it up, you know, every hit matters. Where in this, it's like a lot more lenient. I feel like that just dates it somewhat. I don't say that as a bad thing. I just mean like, you know, people probably would. People like that sort of thing where it's like, ooh, every hit matters. Personally, like, if I had to go through this whole game without, like, taking 2 hits or something, and every time I died it took me back like 5 minutes, you know, I would not like it, actually, honestly. I'm very much someone who's just like, yeah, I just want to beat the game. I don't really need it to be challenging in that way. I don't need to be like, you know, prove that I have perfect, fuck you, mastery or anything. I just want to have fun. I feel like what this game needs is some extra abilities, like some sort of bomb or something, you know? If I could, like... If there was an ability to pull out a bomb right now and use it against those guys, that'd be handy. Hey, you know, in Metroidvania style, maybe that's what we're building to, and we'll get, like, a bomb that'll be perfect against... You know, like, hey, what if there were 2 guys of different colors that you can defeat, like, at once? Like, what would you do? Bomb them. Again, I do think this gimmick is great. The color switching gimmick. It is very fun. Ugh. How come there's like multiple breakable things, some of which require bombs, some of which don't? That's weird and inconsistent. Right, yes, I can shield that crap. I guess you know, I like, yeah, even if I'm like unable to move because I'm still in sword, I can polarity swap. There's a checkpoint. Where the hell are we going? I wonder if there's any abilities that are off the beaten track. Like, it seems like we've been going a while. Is there a reason we don't have teleportation? Ground pound actually is useful as a melee type attack. I like this gimmick a lot. The polarity shifting, where like whenever you are the same color as the projectile, it does no damage. I feel like it's one of the more underused gimmicks in gaming. Just a few games use it, and those few games are very, goddammit, cool. God damn it, god damn it. Very, very cool. I need to be blue to attack this guy. Didn't say I was good at it. Didn't say I was good at it. To be clear. I did not beat Deedlit in Wonder Dungeon. And, you know, I've only played a tiny amount of Ikaruga. Did we get a checkpoint? Yeah, I think this is a checkpoint. I wish checkpoints refilled your health. That would be the kind thing to do, considering. I want to go up there. Oh, this guy's like a Metroid guy. He goes around the thing. Alright. What's that game? There's a couple games where you swap between two realities. I do think of like I do think it's better in like Guacamelee. I think Guacamelee is another example of this. Guacamelee might actually be a fun one to randomly return to one day for a stream like this. Maybe even a little more you know, compelling in a way. I didn't care for like the melee brawler parts of Guacamelee, but it did have a lot more essential energy, if that's a thing. Essential energy is like... Is essential... This guy has a shield. Fuck him. You know, he wants to have a shield, he's welcome to have it over there. Okay, cool, he's coming over here. Right, he has a shield. And the shield protects him from attacks. Well, fortunately, we didn't lose any progress. So these ones are solid no matter which side you're on, but they're only powered on when you're matching. And sometimes it's bad to power them on. Really need like a... Really would like some sort of like an advanced melee option. That's a thing with a game like this, you know, I could look at it and go like, well, it'd be great if it worked differently. But then we could go into the next area and find like, oh, hey, it works differently now. I do think it's maybe a stretch to call this a Metroidvania. You know, I think that there is something in the structure of a Metroidvania where you are more intentionally exploring versus just waypointing around and going in just the direction you can go. Okay, we got a strong attack that recharges. Looks like you can only use it maybe when you get money, you get energy back, it looks like. Well, that's something. You know, again, that is a classic thing in a Metroidvania, just to be like, hey, you know, that thing you've been annoyed about, here's an upgrade that fixes it. and then you go like, ooh, that feels really powerful. You know, if you never have any annoyance, well, you weren't annoyed in the first place, it doesn't mean as much when it's like, oh, here's the answer to your prayers. Here's the solution that you've been looking for. Is this the solution I've been looking for? No, I'd rather something I can spam somewhat, or has a different consequence other than like limited ammo. I would rather it be like, oh, the consequence is... If I were a begging man, or... What the fuck? If I were choosing, I'd say the consequence should be it's a slower attack. That you have to go like, yeah! To do, you know what I mean? Oh. Wow, that's not very strong, is it? I mean, maybe it helped, I don't know. Well, it sure wasn't an instant kill. I'm covering the money, by the way. It doesn't... Not important. I guess I could move to the other corner if I wanted to not be covering up one of the only things we're collecting in this game, but I barely think it matters. Like, we found only... You can only buy, like, hearts so far with it. And, you know, it's not like I'm sitting here going like, oh, you know, right now I have 4,608... 46,000... Some amount 100. You know, it's not like I'm sitting here going like, oh, well, I need 10,000 more. I don't know what I need. I don't think I really need anything in particular. Eee. Where the fuck are we? This... Where we... What? It's back where... Are we headed... Oh, what the fuck? I don't know if I'm headed in the right direction anymore. Well, that's interesting. It shows... Oh, there's totally a waypoint on the map. We need to go the other way entirely. Cool. Totally just backtrack there. I mean, I guess, hey, you know, you have a map, you have a... that crap. It's on me for not realizing, or particularly thinking about it. And just sort of running in any general direction. I do think... Right, there was this whole dragon situation. I think this way also leads to the way forward. No. Don't think it does. Okay, we'll stab this guy. Why don't I just run past him? That works. I did dish that. Splatter is it. Here we go. Here's the room that we were in. I do think that in a 2D, like, action platformer context, this sort of phase-shifting bullet hell stuff, kind of underused. You know, like, honestly, I wouldn't mind... I'd be very curious about, like, a... game that felt more like a Mario or a Donkey Kong that had this sort of gimmick. You know? Like, I think that'd be cool. Got a checkpoint. This is actually ideal. It'd be cool if, like, you know, you put this in a... like a Super Meat Boy, even. Or something a little more snappy. Versus something that this is like... You know, its bread and butter is like, oh, you run up to guys and you hit them with your sword 3 times. 4 times, you know? It's like, yeah, there's better breads. There's better butters. You know? I mean, I'll say, like, as far as bread and butter goes, I'm not really a big bread man. You definitely want, like, a French bread, or like a... Like a French bread, you know, a fancy bread. Whereas... The hitting guys with a sword 3 times, it's more like white bread. General, like, moving fast and jumping on guys, you know, like, and maybe rolling through them. Or throwing, you know, either like a Donkey Kong Country where you're rolling and jumping and doing that crap. Or like a Mario where you're, you know, hitting them with fireballs and maybe melee attacks of a different nature. That's, like, French bread, I think, as far as this goes. This, the same attack every time, plus a juggle, that's more like white bread to me. Maybe some would have it the other way and say, like, oh no, like, this has all the appeal of the platformer, plus it has a bit more. I mean, I guess, like, there's a good comparison here. Is this game like Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown, a little bit? Like a tiny bit, maybe? Insofar as it is a Metroidvania, but not really a Metroid, not quite a Vania, you know, not quite Castlevania-y. I guess it doesn't really have the same traversal parts as, like, you know, that game is all about the traversal in... Can I, like, hit this back? Get! Oh, maybe uppercut. There we go, that'll be it. Didn't occur to me to use the uppercut. Nice. Prince of Persia was really good. Lost Crown. More of a traversal-based thing than anything else. That has a little bit of that, insofar as, like, yeah, the main thing... The main appeal isn't necessarily, like, fighting enemies or anything. It's more like, oh, you know, you get through these environments by shifting back and forth between the 2 colors and navigate like a barrage of bullets. You know, in the same way that you, like, navigate around traps in, like, in Lost Crown. You navigate around these... Oh, motherfucker. You navigate around these. Prince of Persia is actually kind of a similar game insofar as, like, yeah, you know, it is also a game where you have, like, enemies that you're fighting in a similar manner, like, you know, with just a basic sword and some other things of that nature. But they do, like, I think go the extra mile to make it interesting. I guess the thing to remember is that this is a 14-year-old game, you know, that was on a distribution platform where it really wasn't meant to be like a full release, you know? Or that sounds... There was like a distinction back then between a download-only game and a real game. I see what we do here. Match the platform in the blue and the attack. We can get through while the matching color is going. Seems like some of these guys, they can't be juggled, which feels like a surprise every time, because they're all pretty generic. I'll say a Metroidvania that I liked a lot. Shadow Complex. That might be on the Xbox Live Arcade. Mount Rushmore. Shadow Complex, I like it. The only thing I don't like is that all the enemies are just generic humans. Generic humanoids. I feel like generic humanoids just might be the most boring type of enemy that you can do. I mean, this game does also have, like, armadillos and other sorts of beasties, so I guess it's, not exactly a fair complaint. As well as, of course, just things spawning crap all over the place. You know, just spawning bullets, just bullet spawners. Ah. Oh wait, it's saying go over there. Wait, I had to read... They didn't save them? Okay. Well, fuck you two. Hit the checkpoint then. I'll say in like 9 Souls, games that have like just this sort of thing but are more difficult and less forgiving, this same sort of like deliberate combat style, making it more of a challenge doesn't make it interesting to me. You know, it just makes it frustrating, boring. Whereas this is just like, yeah, it's fine. It's fine to do, like, just dispose of them. I guess I can use the Y to kill anyone who's, like, matching. Matching my current color if I don't want to, like, expose myself to the elements. We've been going, what, about an hour and a half? Feel like we're probably gonna get another boss any time now. Like, I feel like we're probably going to... Oh, this is, okay. That's a pattern. Fuck! Tell me we were past a checkpoint. Okay, I think this is recent. Okay, that way. What's the speed run for this game? Been watching a bit of SGDQ. Kind of a bit, honestly. I do think that every year I watch less and less, or maybe that was true like years ago. Now I watch it consistently. Not that much amount, honestly. Like, I tune in for maybe a run a day. Today, with the stream, I was very much just like, oh, I was planning on watching the Sonic Adventure 2 randomizer thing, Archipelago, and then instead I took a nap and watched anime. You know. But I have been watching some of that, and that's been alright. Oh, I got an energy upgrade. That's okay. It's always interesting if there's, like, an interesting run or an interesting, like, route. If something's been changing, you know? And, that's not always the case. Sometimes it's just like, hey, you know, it's the same as ever. Hey, you know, these runners are the best in the world. probably doing faster times than previous years, but otherwise still pretty much the same strats, the same everything, which is, you know, what the hell, you know, that is what it is. There hasn't been a huge evolution in how things go, like there hasn't been a huge evolution in how things go. Like, no, it makes sense, it's fine, but I guess, you know, I should probably... The thing with SGDQ that's always something that I don't do... Fuck you. The thing with SGDQ, which I don't do, is pay attention to the things people are saying and just watch those recommended runs. Instead, I just go like, oh, you know, Majora's Mask is on. Oh, I'll watch that. Didn't watch that today. I'll say, you know, I was at work. And, I put it on for a minute during lunch, and then, you know, went back to work. It was an office day, you know. Today I worked from an office. So it wasn't like I could just, not as easy to multitask or to put something on, in the background at the office. Just be on your phone, which is more awkward. You know, smaller screen and all that. Kind of feels alright to use some good ability usage to be like, okay, I'm gonna, you know, use my yellow to kill the guy in the opposite color. Okay, I should do that more often. That's pretty good. Oh, there's a checkpoint. Oopsie daisy. Yippee! This game's alright. I think I would like to fight a boss and wrap up. Maybe have a nice shorter stream today. You know, maybe I'll catch some GDQ or something. Feel like I've already, you know, explained my thoughts here. My impressions, my, like, recollections, things of that nature. Bit of a slow start. I feel like in just about any game, I'm always just getting tired if I have to do the same thing over and over again. You know, I can be a little impatient when it comes to things like this. You know, where it's like, oh, I died and I feel dumb. But I don't feel like getting good, I just feel like being grumpy about it. You know, that's just kind of a way I can be. I mean, I think it depends on how much expression you have, if that makes sense. You know, oftentimes in a platformer, you can take, like, a different route. You can play things in a pretty big variety of ways, but in a game like this... Hey, the spikes. It's just, like, fancy spike stuff going on. That's cool. In a game like this, the only expressionality, if that's, like, a term... Is that, like, a term? The only, like, way that you can play this different is be like, okay, well, either I sword these guys, maybe I use my super attack on them instead, or maybe I just run by them. And none of that is that different. Mostly you're just running up the guys and hitting them with your sword 3 times. And then occasionally running in through a cool, like, bullet hell part, which is cool. Don't get me wrong. But it's kind of an occasionally thing, not an all-the-time thing. I bet it escalates as you go through, to be fair. We getting somewhere here? What's the deal? This is a long ladder. This is a big room. I like these ridiculous patterns. Can you get to that? Yes, you can. These are definitely the best parts of the game. Dealing with big rooms with big patterns of bullet hell. Ouch. Yeah. Ah. Alright. Put the spikes down. Put the spikes away, and then we just run through. I found a guardian key, which, as we know, means that we can go fight a guardian boss. Excellent. That's, Those things going back and forth are really loud. Way that I don't care for. Not this way. It's good that I died. Now I can go back to the checkpoint and have full health again. Apparently it doesn't recharge your yellow. You only get up to 1 yellow. It's not like a skill tree system or something, right? We've gotten like half the abilities in the game. Cool. Probably like halfway through. There's lots of Xbox Live Arcade games that I only played the demo of back in the day that I wouldn't mind a full crack at. You know, Geometry Wars is honestly just one of them. Like, if I were to name... How many can I name that I never played that I would like to... That I low-key think back on and say, like, I probably should have coughed up the $10 or whatever and given it a go. PB Winterbottom is a random one that I think about. I think Geometry Wars, PB Winterbottom. What was that? I never played Castle Crashers, but also I'm not really into brawlers, so like I bet I wouldn't have cared for it, honestly. I bet that would have been a total miss for me, truth be told. There were probably a couple of Xbox Live Arcade games that I never grabbed. What was that one where it was like furry? It was a furry game? That was like... Dust and Elysian Tale, that's it. Never played that one. Heard people were like really chuffed by it. You know, I think it was... What the fuck was it? Was it... I don't think it was an RPG. Was it an RPG? Go in the right direction? Yes. These waypoint things, I feel like they just... If I were to say any criticism of this right now, you know, having played it for the last 2 hours, the areas are all very samey, to where, you know, if they didn't have this waypoint system, it'd probably be very, very hard to get around and figure out where you need to go, because all the areas look the same. It's not like you can make a mental map and go like, okay, well, I need to go over here, back to this area, or back over here. It's just like, nah, I'll just follow the pixies, or whatever they are, and they'll show me the way. That would be a criticism I would make right now. Alright, boss time. Let's finish this boss and see what ability we get. And we'll maybe tool around with it for a second. But, like, you know, let's be real. I think it's time to, call it a night. I got a little bit of a nap before the stream. Not a long nap. Just feeling quite, tired. I'll say... maybe during a big climactic boss fight is the wrong time to be, you know, talking about vacation and all that. I found out that, since we got an early morning flight, it's, you know, we're going with family. They're gonna be picking me up at, like, 4:30 in the morning, so, like, yeah, I should probably just, like, have a really big long nap on Friday, and then get up at, like, 1 a.m. or something after that nap, and just hope to, you know, go from there to end of day Saturday, and that's gotta be how I do, because there ain't no way I'm gonna go to sleep, like, you know, and get a full night's sleep, unless I take it as a nap, like, after work on Friday, which I'm not doing a stream on Friday, so SGDQ runs aside, I'm clear to do. But I could probably use more sleep is kind of what I'm driving at, I guess. I was kind of thinking beforehand in terms of like, oh, you know, I would like to, I would like to be like all refreshed and have my sleep schedule on track. Then I realized like, ah, fuck that. There's no way of doing that and being ready for travel day. You know, I have to choose one or the other, and adrenaline will carry me through. And hey, you can always take a nap at the beach. No one is stopping you from taking a nap at the beach. In fact, it is a quite common practice. You can take a nap at the beach. You can, you know, take a nap at a beach house. Like, really, kind of a traditional thing to nap in a beach area. I don't care for this very much. This boss is nowhere as fun as the last one. Oh, hang on. Hang on, it's getting somewhere. Oh, this is cool. Okay, you know what? I take that back. This is a cool, okay, gotta... This is like a temporary platform. This is cool. How the fuck? What? Oh, you get like a little bit of extra gravity assist here from the way that you're falling. Okay, you can jump farther and higher than normally. This is cool. Where am I? Where am I? I'm dead. I lost myself there. Anyway, we'll finish this out. Just gonna go, we'll finish this out now. Then I'll leave y'all until, Thursday. Which I imagine will be a long stream on Thursday. Because, there we go. That's the ticket for avoiding that pattern. Wait, what the fuck? How come, what the fuck? That one went through the platform. The fuck is that shit? That's fucked up and bad. Fucked up parentheses bad. How does it work? Why does it work like, okay. That's fine. You think that would have worked. What I did. Doesn't. It's fine, fuck it, who cares? Ah. There we go, switch to that. I should use my yellow as well. I think I whiffed the yellow there, that's fine. I'll say probably we'll have a lot to talk about on the Thursday stream. Whole lot of anime over the weekend. I watched like 30 new shows. Probably, you know, to be fair, like most of them, probably like at least half of them were crap, so like I'm not necessarily saying like, oh, you know, there's 30 things that you should check out. No, it's... Christ. I'm not saying that, but... Okay, shit, motherfucker. Asshole. I am saying that we kind of have a lot to talk about and a lot to cover. And also, I want to talk about Kohler Brothers more. You know... and things of that nature. I imagine if I'm able, if like streaming from the shore works, if I can do a Donkey Kong Bonanza stream from New Jersey, you know, on launch day, if that's viable, I imagine I'll probably end up talking a little bit about the trip. I'll say, like, just as a small thought here, I don't know, there'll be, you know, I'll be in New Jersey for a week, but I don't feel like this will be like my 3-week Japan vacation, where it's like, oh, you know, every day was me running around seeing things that I want to tell you about. You know, I want to tell you about this theme park and the Nintendo Museum, and like, oh, I went to this shrine, and I went to, you know, the Electronics Town, and I saw this many anime figurines, you know? Then I went and I went to the zoo, you know? A lot of, like, the shore talk will be like, yeah, I hung out with my family at the beach, I went in the water, we went to mini golfing, you know, as you do. Mini golfing is fun. Had pizza, had ice cream. That about sums it up, you know? We went to the crappy boardwalk amusement park that they got, and it was indeed a crappy park. You know, not exactly not exactly the best park in the world. Kind of hard to see yourself when you're being covered in blue beams or red beams. Easy to lose track. There's nowhere to jump to. There was nowhere to jump to. Ow, ow, ow. I already lost 2 parts. That blows. Three. Ugh. I would like to revisit more games randomly. I like to do it. You know, definitely am wondering if like this should continue to be like a one game, one stream type situation, you know. Maybe it would be a good idea to have a backup, let's say, and then be like, oh, you know, Outland isn't doing it for us. Maybe we'll try, Shadow Complex. I mean, I say try Shadow Complex. Shadow Complex is a game that's good enough to support, like, a full playthrough. at some point, honestly. But this I can't even get, like, close enough to her. Come on, I can't even see myself. I do think that this is a 4 out of 5, comma, for XBLA, which always was like, you know, bite-sized experiences for discount prices. You know, Xbox Live Arcade was never where you went for marquee stuff, which, you know, maybe that feels dated now because, like, you know, the indie games that you pay $20 for a game now are also the marquee games. You know, they're also like things like your Neon Whites and your Tunics and your, you know, games that could be Game of the Year, essentially. Whereas back then, like, you got Braid and you're like, oh my god, it's blowing my mind what this is capable of. You know, you put out a game and it wasn't $50. Wow, holy shit. And it's just kind of a fun little thing. Almost does feel like, you know, a throwback in a way. You know what I mean? Almost does feel like, oh hey, this is like what people remember from like the days of arcades, right? Or like maybe not arcades, but like you know, it was Xbox Live Arcade, obviously, but that wasn't. With my yellow. I don't even know if the yellow really does extra damage, so maybe it's fine. This might be it. Or like, you know, the SNES, right? Like earlier consoles where games were allowed to be small. Well, I mean, I say games were allowed to be small. They were still fucking... What are you doing now? There's the red again. Oh, come on, I can't see myself. Where am I? There I am. What the fuck? Why can't I? Fucking hell. Come on, look at that sliver! Oh my god! This is very frustrating and I don't like it. This boss is really, trying my patience. We're gonna kill it. We're gonna kill it, and that'll be the. This phase is where we take most of our damage, and it probably shouldn't be because it's just literally dodge some rocks. Okay. We have 4 hearts this time. That's way above average. I wonder if it's like rendering in 720p or something. That sounds stupid, but like I'm looking at it, it kind of looks a little bit fuzzy, doesn't it? Like, it kind of looks like these characters aren't super sharp. I don't know if y'all would agree. I don't know if that's, like, how it looks on the, you know, through the capture card or whatever. But it looks like they're a little bit fuzzy. I guess, you know... I have noticed that with some Switch 2 games, by the way. You know, or Switch 1 games on Switch 2 in handheld mode. Because in handheld mode, because the previous Switch had a 420p screen, games render in 720 when they're in handheld mode. And then it's a little bit awkward when you're looking at it in, it's a little awkward when you're looking at it on a, like, you know, on the Switch 2 screen, which is a lot higher resolution. I mean, it's 1080p. 720 on a 1080 screen just never looks good. I don't care, like, what game you're talking about, or what video, etc. Like, you want 1080p. They should probably turn on that upscaling thing that they got. Motherfucker, there's... Just crushed my platform that I had to use. There's not like there's multiple routes here to get around. You can either go up the right or the left. And if your path is, not there, your path's not there. Could really go with more reach. I guess this part, you're probably not supposed to be really chipping away at her at this point. Just wait until she finishes her thing. There we go. Fucking finally. Okay. That boss fight was really long. High Priestess, yeah.
Gods in their holy rites. She knew the secrets of the heavens and the earth.
And then she became a baddie.
Alas, she learned too much and sought to join in the unmaking of all things. Who will sing the sacred songs now that the High Priestess is gone?
I don't know. Maybe you should have showed us this gimmick before. Oh, we now have the ability to teleport. That's not, that interesting. You know? Like, what would you do with that? All you could use it for is backtracking a little bit. You know, it's not like, oh, you can backtrack a little bit, or... you know, go back to previous areas. It's not like it gives us any new places to go, or even anything interesting mobility-wise. And yeah, there's just 4 abilities left in the game. We beaten the second of... Maybe it is you do 4, and then the key door opens, and then the 5th one is the final one. With the amount of stuff that we have remaining in the game, I'd probably bet on that before there being 3 more areas exactly as big as the previous parts that we went through this stream. Oh! Maybe it is just a thing of, like, you know, when it's zoomed out this much, it has trouble rendering, like, small things with the sort of stylization that you would want. Maybe it's just a matter of, like, yeah, they you know, do some sort of shader stuff to make it so that even when you're zoomed out, you look sharp. You know, maybe a little bit more cell shading or something. I don't know. I don't know how graphics work. I just know that that little dude down there he looks a little bit blurry and indistinct when you're zoomed out this far. And even when you're zoomed in this far in, he still looks like he has like a glowy aura versus just like, it looks like all his color is in the form of like glowy things that are attached to him, rather than like, oh, his skin is just, he doesn't look sharp. Maybe that's intentional. It is literally an aura that you are wielding. I just think that that makes it look a little bit crap. What are these leaderboards? All games had leaderboards back then. They were weird. Have I not gotten... these are... Did I not complete the full game back in the day? Who remembers? Maybe I got like midway through or something. Definitely never defeated a boss without taking damage. That's fair. That's fair. What's a kamikaze? Who knows? What's in helper options? How to play. Basic controls. Attacks. Beam attack. Charged attack. And then, yeah, we got the smite already. Launch pads sound cool. Absorb enemy energy bolts for a spirit blast. Ah, you do eventually get that. That's interesting to know. Mentioned that as a potential earlier on. Yeah, that would make sense. You can switch between them. Yep. And, oh yeah, we got concept art. Let's look at the concept art, I guess. Let's see that concept art. Let's go. We did unlock, like, one piece of concept arts, right? Ooh, we got a bunch. Ooh, look at that. That's a drawing. Looks nice. Is that it? Yeah, that's a good drawing. Yeah, I think you nailed it. You basically put that into the game. I do like the colors here. Maybe looks a little bit better in 2D versus like in Xbox 360 rendered motion. You know, this isn't quite, you know, the way that it looks here, it looks like it could be right out of like a Jungle, not Jungle Beat, Donkey Kong Country Returns / Tropical Freeze. But it's not quite that sharp in the reality of the game. Just hit continue game and bounce, jump back in there for a second. Yeah. It really didn't do a save, I guess, after we did the thing. It's fine. It's good. Let's, let me get nice and big. Go over there, little man. Go over there, little man. I gotta pop up the schedule. Go, like, right... Is there a place where the little man is visible? If he stands right there, he'll be visible. Excellent. Okay. Well, folks, that'll do it for today's stream. Just a random revisit to Outland. Let me take it down, Scotch. It doesn't need to be loud now. Anywho, we are, just got one more stream until I go on vacation, go out of town for a bit, and that'll be on Thursday. I'll be doing the viewer levels on Thursday night rather than Friday night, because, you know, I'll be going to the airport at like 4 a.m., 5 a.m. The next day. I don't want to be doing a stream that night and have to do the necessaries, like, right when I probably should be thinking about sleeping or napping or doing something of the sort. But I am mostly prepared for that Thursday stream. I am ready to talk about a whole fucking bunch, and look for it on Thursday. You want to see some Mario Maker? The only Mario Maker you'll see on this channel, you know, shorts aside, until like I'm back from vacation for a bit. Then Thursday is the day you're gonna want to be there. Thursday, and I'm gonna say 6 p.m. Central, but it is a work day. I am working from the office, and it is a regular day, so I don't expect to like get home that early. But we'll see how that goes. I reckon I may be able to like you know, have everything ready to go for that. You know, definitely preparing it like, you know, mostly ahead of time rather than trying to set it up like as soon as I get home. I think I'll say, for what it's worth, it's easier to prepare when you can just roll off work by just you know, signing out of work versus having to drive home and you know, get dressed, get undressed, and then get dressed in home style stuff. You know what I mean? Maybe have a meal, something of the sort. Of course, you always have to have a meal before a stream. That just goes without saying. But you know, it's harder on a day where you're in the office, I'll say. But look for that on Thursday. I'll be on vacation next week, though. Bonanza comes out next week, and I do want to stream my first, I don't know how long, with that game. And my plan is to try to stream that from the Jersey Shore, and we'll see if like the internet is the beach house internet is good. I think the laptop will handle it just fine. We'll see what happens with all that on you know, next week. I didn't do a test stream at any point. Maybe I'll do a test stream from the Jersey Shore. Just like something small and short and quick. You know, just as a quick test-a-rooney. I am not guaranteeing that I will not just immediately, like as soon as I get there and get some ice cream and have some beach time, you know. I'm not saying that like, oh, I won't turn on the stream and just go like, hey, what's up? I'm bored. I wanna do something other than watch anime when I'm not doing family stuff. It's possible I might do a test stream from the Jersey Shore before Bonanza, but I'm not guaranteeing anything because who the fuck knows. There's also anime I could watch in my free time when I'm like socially exhausted from like hanging out with 30 of my closest relatives. We'll see about that. Look forward to that next week. Look forward to Bonanza next week. In general, you should look forward to Bonanza, even if you're not thinking about specifically watching me play it. You should look forward to Bonanza. That's going to be a good time. Also, you can see there that I am planning on doing a Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 stream, like, just as soon as I get back. We'll see if that happens. Maybe I'll be exhausted out of my mind and punt that to, like, a later weekend, but actually, that seems quite likely now that I say it. We'll see what happens. Also, I could be playing Bonanza rather than Galaxy 1 and 2 that week. Did I think of that? No, I didn't. We'll see what happens with that. That is, I'll probably play a bunch of Bonanza on the plane, for what it's worth. Like on the plane back. If I can't do Bonanza from the shore, I'll definitely do it like as soon as I get home, and in that case I'll have to wait and just save it until I land and get home, which will be kind of a bummer, but what are you gonna do? I like to stream my first time with a game for posterity. A lot of things up in the air, a lot of unknowns there. Have a look at the full schedule if you like. The full schedule as I expect it to be right now. We have just finished the Outland stream, so all that's left is Mario Maker, then Shore, then when I get back from that, Galaxy, and then like after that, Super Banjo-Tooie will start, which again is like the Super Banjo-Tooie will be a stream where I play through Banjo-Tooie with the Super Banjo cheat code, which will allow me to do, like, extra speed, be twice as fast, you know? And the enemies will also be twice as fast. I'll turn off Super Batty as well. And that'll take 3 weeks because that's exactly the time that I have to do that full playthrough. We have 3 weeks to do it, and at that point I'll be going to Epic Universe, so, you know, that'll be another interruption to stream business next month, but let's not think about that. I still need to book the hotel and all that for that. I feel like I'm just waiting to talk with family and figure out, like, hey, we doing dinner? You know, with my Orlando relatives. Are we doing dinner while I'm in Orlando? What's the deal? What do you want to do? But, that's all not important. That's all coming up. The important thing is, sure, next week, no streams except for whatever streams I managed to do, as if by coincidence, and find time for somewhere. I'm excited. I'm ready to go, and you know, I'll say, like, if I remember, like shores that I went to, I haven't been since the pandemic. Like back in the past, a good week at the shore is like so socially exhausting. It's the kind of thing where you go and you're like, okay, you know, I know that they do this every year, but oh my god, I feel like I'm wiped. You know, the drama, the like that many people all like in close proximity. It's madness. You know, it's the kind of thing you do and like, okay, never again. Not give me a year. Give me 2 years. I've had 6. I'm overdue. I'm ready to go. I'm excited. I am positive on it. Maybe I'll feel other way at the end of the week. We'll see. Probably won't be that much to talk about, honestly. It's more of a personal deal. Anywho, that's, I think I've explained good and well enough what's going on in the next, week. Let me send you somewhere. Let me see who's streaming on the Twitch. My TV went dim. That's fine. Guess it doesn't really matter. Let me see. A lot of people streaming tonight. Takyoshi is playing, Mario Kart. Why not? That's fine. Mario Kart's good. I'll send you over there. Anywho, thank you for joining me for Outland, which was pretty decent. Cool in a lot of ways. Kind of a little bit long in the tooth, I would say. And definitely really slow to start. But still, an interesting thing to play a bit of and look back upon. And, you know, I just enjoy thinking about the like, you know, Xbox Live Arcade era, the 360 era. You know, as an era that I was in my teenage years to 20-something years, it's not an era I think about as much as the ones where I was just a tiny child, but there's a lot of games that are worth thinking about and worth appreciating. I'm pulling up the Takyoshi stream on my thing. If you heard anything, don't worry about it. Anywho, I will see y'all on Thursday, and then it'll all be up in the air for a while, but you know, catch me when I'm online. No guarantee when Bonanza will be. I would bet in the morning. I'd bet in the morning of launch day. I'll delay going to the beach, I bet. We'll see what happens, though. It's all, like I said, up in the air. I'll see you on Thursday for the last proper stream from home for like a week. Bye!